Hi, it's me again, multi-topic talk. Welcome to this new review. And this time around, we talk about a trailer I liked a lot. It's Wolves, and we got George Clooney in it. We got Brad Pitt. Anyway, let's get that review done. Let's talk to other people that have seen that movie because maybe I'm crazy, but that movie was a banger. I agree. How are you, Gray?
Hey, I'm doing okay. Yeah, yeah. It's a day, and I'm here.
It's
That's
a
a good thing.
Thank you for being there. Let's talk about Wolves. What did you think of that movie?
Yeah. It's a movie. It existed. Apparently, somebody spent $200 million to make it happen. I don't know why. Um, so we spoke very briefly about it, and you seem to have it much more favorable in your list than I have it on mine. Um, It's not a bad film, it's just kind of a nothing film to me. Like, it's weird. So if it wasn't Brad Pitt and George Clooney, it's just kind of a nothing film. I think if you had any other actors in there, it's just kind of meh. And part of that is like the way that it's designed. Like, you're not supposed to know much about these two fixers. You don't even get their names, but part of their actual character is they're not showing you any of their emotions. They're not letting you know anything about themselves. So it's just these two older gentlemen that you don't really know that much about, and that it just kind of slowly progresses. Oh no, I was hoping for so much more out of this. I've seen a whole bunch of Apple's kind of direct to streaming things, and I really dug it because they've got an interesting thing going over there. They get to license music for a lot cheaper and a lot harder to get songs that they normally wouldn't license to anything else. So you usually have like just this amazing score that goes with it. But even when I'm thinking about this, it's just kind of a nothing score. It's definitely a movie. I'm not saying like it's a bad movie, but it's just so nothing to me. And the pacing on it is just so slow. It's like, okay, so I'm waiting for something to happen. And it doesn't seem like it's going to. And I get it. Like, the whole thing is kind of this slow burn between these two fixers, but I don't know. None of it really makes that much sense. And I'm trying to think of like anything positive from it. Um, it doesn't look particularly bad. It is filmed by so John Watts is the director. He's the same dude who's done like all of the recent Spider-Man ones, Far From Home, Homecoming. I think he did another one. That's all I'm seeing on there right now. Oh yeah, sorry, No Way Home as well. Um, he's not an unknown director. He's done like super big budget ones before. Maybe 200 million's kind of a low budget one for him, but man, for as much as just the budget is on this and the actors that they had in it, I was expecting so much more. I generally find Clooney just so goddamn charismatic, and Pitt, I mean, come on, all he has to do is just stand there and it's usually great. But in this, it's just I found myself looking at my watch a lot and just kind of wondering, like, okay, so when is something gonna happen? It's kind of interesting, I guess, to have the idea of these fixer characters. I always love these type of characters in other movies, but I don't know. Just with this, it's just so nothing is happening. Like, Pitt is the secondary fixer, and he's just watching Clooney, and they don't want to give anything away or talk to each other in any way to possibly give the other one leverage on the other. But man, it just leads to this, like, you're watching an old man clean up a room for quite a while, and then you watch an other old man watch the first old man clean up the room for a while. There's a couple of cool things, like, yeah, I don't know exactly how I'd get a body out of a room unseen. I have an idea now, so that's kind of cool. I just need a luggage cart and like a rack of some kind, and maybe I could do this. Perhaps a garment bag would help. But I don't know. And then it's got this really, really prolonged chase scene kind of in the middle, which there is kind of some plot armor going on here that apparently whatever this magic drug is, it lowers your heartbeat to where even a doctor couldn't know. So apparently he couldn't possibly know. But then this kid,
Actually, he lied. But he
the
like.
doctor in Chinatown though says like,
Oh,
"Oh, I
okay.
could see how you wouldn't be able to see that."
Okay.
Like even doctors would be fooled by this. Um, I don't know. It feels like it's a plot convenience to me that like, okay, so he magically is inept at his job. He doesn't check if this person's actually dead. He just
He did check.
assumes it, and then on top of that, even a doctor would be fooled by this. So there's no way that you screwed up. It's just this drug did that perfectly. And then once they bring the kid back, just immediately he wants to run away, and he wants to run away in his underwear, even though everything that we've known about this character up till now and that we learn about him after this doesn't lead us to think that, oh, okay, this is the super physical guy who would just run away from anything and would put himself in a bunch of dangerous spots just because, it's that thrill seeking type. Um, I don't know. It's kind of a fun chase, although it is very weird that Clooney's driving for like a good 5 minutes, and you have no idea like how far away he's getting. He's going like what 80. He's really revving the engine, and he's going for like 5 minutes while Pitt is chasing him like through a mall and up these structures and everything. But somehow he's able to track exactly where they are, even though it's like 5 minutes of driving, and he's able to get up to like just the right spot to intercept it. Um, I don't know. Like it, you could tell where it was going to go. I guess I wanted it to be a little bit faster, the chase scene. I knew what was going to happen. It's like, come on, like obviously this kid isn't going to get away. Like you're going to all meet up. It's all going to be fine. So I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of, I don't know if you'd call them scenes or parts that it just feels like they could be shortened down a little bit. It felt like it dragged a little bit to me where it could be a lot tighter. I really like Clooney when he does comedy, and I don't know. I guess from the trailer, I just thought there'd be more comedy in this, and I think part of that is making it a little bit tighter and punchier. But I don't know. They're just going for like a completely different tone with this one. And
I
then
did
by the
laugh a
time,
lot. I did laugh a lot, man.
yeah, I
Almost the
don't know
entire
that
time.
that's a good. I don't know if you would call it a caliber. It's not exactly a universal measuring stick to go off of, because I didn't, and I understand that humor is subjective. Just watching the trailer, it's like, okay, this is going to be a straight up comedy, and about every funny moment that I saw in this was put into that trailer. So I feel like it kind of undercuts some of the movie because it's like, okay, so this is your best parts, and you spent them all already. Like I have experienced them, or at least part of them, where it gave me the idea that there's going to be more like this, and sadly, I didn't find it personally. But I'm not knocking your experience. I'm glad you enjoyed it a hell of a lot more. With a $200 million budget, it just kind of it makes me wonder, like, what do you make the money back with Apple, or what's the idea? Because I think it was put into theaters for a week, and that's basically so that it can
Yeah.
be acknowledged for the awards and everything. So they're not making 200 million back on that. So I don't know. I know Apple TV is kind of pricey, but I have no idea how these business models work out or anything like that. But 200 million for like a little flick. I guess I would just think that you'd get a little bit more bang for your buck. There are a lot of guns that go off in this one. I guess we didn't talk about the mob element in this yet. I found that completely over the top. That in this game, you could never have two fixers ever know about each other. If they ever know about each other, if you ever see them talk, that means they're conspiring against you and they must die. It felt really over the top. I wasn't ready to like believe that. And then what's the answer? Like essentially you just trust the other guy and just one of you goes in. Otherwise, if you're both seen and noticed, it led to like, I don't know, 3 seconds of them pretending not to know each other or whatever, and then kind of battling with each other. But then the second that they realize they have the same gun, it's like, oh, buddies, they're buddies. I don't know, man. I think just if one of them stayed in the car, the other one like went in to make sure that everything happened all right. I think it would have been just fine. And then just make sure that the car is parked far enough away that they don't see the first guy get into the second guy's car. It feels like that would be a perfect solution, and then you don't have the mob after you and doing a hit against you. However, it does appear that there is much more going on the story, and they haven't told us everything, which is all leading up to, hey, there's actually a sequel for this in the works right now, where we might get more answers. And then they give it a really interesting ending. To me, it really doesn't work, especially knowing that they're in the middle of doing in the start process of doing a sequel to Wolves. But the whole like Butch and Sundance ending where, okay, we're up against impossible odds, but we're going to, I guess, before I get to that, there is the other secondary shootout with the everybody has plot armor. These guys can't die. The kid that they find in the beginning, he just can't die, even though he fell on a full like drink cart while completely passed out. There was blood everywhere, enough to like spray I forget what she is, a senator, or to spray the original lady. I believe her name is
The
Margaret. It
the
doesn't
the
say exactly what she is, but George Clooney is billed as Margaret's man, and Brad Pitt is billed as Pam's man. So it must be Margaret. But she is able to be sprayed with a whole bunch of blood. But this kid, he manages to walk into a shootout or into a drug deal where there's a bunch of people with guns, and then another rival mafia comes, and then there's this giant shootout. But magically, he hides in the perfect trunk that nobody either sees him get in there, and nobody can shoot through it because it's a bulletproof trunk or something. And he's also able to make noise at just the right time to notify his guys that he's in here and he's fine. And then it actually leads up to kind of a painful moment. They talk about the firing squad and everything, and I thought they were actually going to do something kind of ballsy, and I thought they were actually going to take out this guy that they made you kind of bond with, kind of grow some rapport with. Austin Abrams, who's just known as the kid in this. So your three leads are Margaret's man, Pam's man, and the kid. So the kid, it sounds like they're going to have to take him out. Like they talk about the whole firing squad thing so that, it takes the burden off. You don't know exactly whose bullet it is. It seems like it's all leading up to the fact that they need to take this kid out, but they don't go that route. Instead, it's the Hollywood thing. Instead, he just magically knows to shoot the drugs, and then hey, there's a tracker in there. Okay, hey, it turns out we're set up all along. So okay, now we know that it's us versus everybody we've ever worked for. I don't know. Then that leads to the like Butch and Sundance standoff at the end, where they're outmanned, outgunned, and they're gonna go out in a blaze of glory, except for the camera just kind of cuts off. Man, it left me so unsatisfied. I'm not going to say this is like my lower 5 of the year or anything like that, but it's extreme mid for me. I wanted so much out of it. When I heard like Pitt and Clooney are doing another movie together, it's like, hell yeah, like let's do another Oceans thing. Okay, we're not doing a heist thing, we're doing a crime thing. Hell yeah, let's do this. Like I'm on board. I love each of these guys. They're so charismatic, they're so personable, and just the way that this story is told and what the characters are, to me, it doesn't allow like the likable things of either of these characters. You get glimpses of it, and it's just to me, it's not enough to like sustain a whole movie or make it an entertaining movie. I really wanted to like it. I thought for sure like this is going to be one of those like. So I had a couple of kind of powerful, kind of deep drama movies that I was watching, and it's like, okay, I'm not looking forward to watching either of those, but this will be a breath of fresh air. Like it's a comedy, it's going to be great, and it felt like such a waste of time. I don't know if that's because of like the mood that I was in. Perhaps I'm just being weird about this, but when I've looked up a few of the other kind of reviews of it, I'm seeing like Wolves is sheepish. I think a lot of people are kind of feeling the same thing that I was feeling. Like, okay, so you got the Spider-Man director, you've got Clooney, you've got Pitt. Like, there's going to be something awesome going on. And I just feel like every aspect of this is just so underutilized. So I'm I'm just left in like meh in every way. I thought the one thing that Apple is guaranteed is that there's going to be an amazing soundtrack to it, and just I'm struggling to like remember one song in the entire soundtrack. It was just so kind of meh. And usually, that really stands out to me with Apple. It's like, oh my god, can you believe they were able to license whatever song? Just I don't know. I guess I just expected so much more from a $200 million Apple thing. Um, so that's just kind of where I'm left with it. I just I wanted to like this, and I don't find myself liking it. I don't think I'll even. I don't know. I'll probably end up watching the second one to see. Okay, where do we go from here? But I'm not looking forward to it. I got to be honest. I was anticipating really liking this. I didn't know anything about it until about like a month ago, and it was like, okay, there's going to be something fun before the end of the year. I'm really looking forward to that, and just, ugh, I'm struggling with it, man. It's deeply meh for me.
This is unfortunate. What would be your grade out of 10?
I feel like I've been given everything like a 6 lately, but it feels like it's just about like I don't know. A 5 for me is just really kind of barely passable. To me, this is a little bit above that. I think there is some likable parts in it. The camera, it's in focus almost all of the time. I think I'd give it a 6, but I really wanted to give it way more than that. I absolutely love these guys when they're in anything like Burn After Reading. It's amazing together. But man, just it
I
doesn't
think
feel like it has any real personality, and that's what I wanted. And I just feel like because of these characters, and they can't really show their feelings, they've got to hide things from each other. I think it just kind of suffers. It doesn't have the charisma that I think either of these actors bring to it. And just if it's any other actor in this, I think it really is a much lower movie. I think the only reason I'm talking about it is because it is these two actors, but I don't think they really get to show off what they do. I don't know. That's just me. But sorry for cutting you off. You were saying something, sir.
I agree with you, but I gotta say, I think most of the money spent on that movie would be on having Clooney and Brad Pitt on. I think
It could be. And I
af-
bet John Watts isn't cheap either now. Again, he did all the new MCU Spider-Man ones. So, like that is a big budget director. He's kind of slumming it for 200. So this is kind of one of his low budget ones, I'm sure. But man, I can't help but think that they should have spent a couple more million, punching up the script a little bit. For me, I wanted a little bit more and a little bit more of their personality. I think if you get to it a little bit faster, like they learn they're burned a little bit more, you could get their real personalities coming out. Because going into this and looking at the trailer, I guess I didn't assume that it was going to be like a buddy road trip movie, but it works like that. I feel like everything that I'm seeing in here, I've kind of seen somewhere else, and I've kind of seen done somewhere else. We're going to see one in the near future for the other show, Midnight Run. I'm going to make you see that. It's kind of the ultimate kind of buddy movie, buddy road trip one, enemy to friend. I just feel like a lot of the notes that this is trying to do, that did so much better. And then there's been so many things trying to do that, trying to recreate Midnight Run, that just, man, to me, this just seems like a lesser version of something great that I've seen. And that's sad. I really wanted to like it a lot more.
I can see where you're coming from. I adored it, but I can see it. I can see it. Maybe I liked it that much because I haven't seen that often that many movie like this one. But yeah, do you want to add more on Wolves?
Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on it. Like I said, it's not bad. I'm not going to say like this is a horrible movie. To me, it is again, 5 and above would be good. 5 and below, or 4.9 and below, would be bad. It is better than just good. It is definitely on the good side of the scale. But there's just so much potential for so much good stuff to happen. Some of my favorite characters are the fixer characters. I believe it is Mr. Wolf from Pulp Fiction who just comes in there and is, Harvey Keitel is telling him exactly what they need to do to clean up everything, to fix the mess. That is awesome. Like you just want to see these characters come in and kind of take charge, just tell you exactly what has to happen, and them being one step ahead of everybody because they've been in this situation. Like they know how to fix this. They are the fixer. And with these performances, I'm not getting that these guys really are fixers. It feels like they made a bunch of rookie mistakes, but maybe I'm wrong. You do get to see Brad Pitt chug a Coke, so that works for some.
Fact. One last thing. Would you recommend Megalopolis or Wolves?
I think I'd go Megalopolis, simply because it's so weird. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It also has a bunch of elements from a bunch of different things that are all mixed in. But man, I don't think you're going to see anything quite mixed in this way again. Where I feel like with Wolves, I have seen this kind of, we're adversaries, we're rivals, and now, wait a minute, are we becoming friends? Okay, we're on a road trip. This is great. I feel like I've seen that a bunch of times where I really don't feel like I've seen whatever the hell Megalopolis was before. I've seen elements like it. Like there is like the Fountainhead where there's this like unyielding architect who really is going after his artistic vision. But it's so pro-capitalism and so like anti a lot of the things that I feel like Megalopolis is pushing, that it's like I can't even really say that it's exactly the same as that. It's just so weird. If you're into seeing something weird and you're down to just kind of exist in this interesting space, go see Megalopolis. But it's not a great movie.
I guess that's something in common for you on both.
Yeah, neither of these made my top 10. They do have that in common.
And with that, apparently I am crazy. We got spoiler ads. It's just like a second or third warning. There's one thing we all agree on. We are excited and we want a sequel, and that will be a fun sequel, hopefully. It's a mess, I know. But here's the thing. Wolf is a fun movie. Everyone shits on it except me. I will defend that movie. Respect the movie. When everyone but me tell that movie is below average, that movie is bad, that movie is average, that movie is not great, that movie is just okay, well, I'm here for you, George Clooney, Brad Pitt. These two are really cool. They carry the movie on their shoulders. And that's probably the second thing we all agree on. They are solid. Hi, how are you today?
Hi, I'm finding you.
I'm doing great. So today we talk about Wolves. What did you think of that George Clooney and Brad Pitt movie?
First of all, I want to say that this movie is the director is John Watts, the director of the recent trilogy of Spider-Man. So it's his first movie after doing three movie Spider-Man. So this movie is exercise to demonstrate this talent outside the MCU movie. So for that, I think it's a okay movie. It's so different what he does before. And for the choice of the actor is a great match. Brad Pitt and Josh Clooney are a great duo in this movie. It's not the first time he does that. He does that when the Ocean 11. Before that, it was great too. And for the movie, I think what is work for this movie is this duo because the story is not very great. It's not memorable. But this moment, you have a run in the movie when the duo run after a guy in the city. That sequence is great. But
They chase after the guy that has no clothes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the story is the two cleaner obligate to work together to clean a body, but nothing go well. So for the premise is very intriguing, but the execution is not very creative, not very great for, for the duo is working. The humor, the interaction, the fight between them is working, but overall, it's not a memorable movie. But I want to see the sequel because a sequel is announced before the release is the first movie. So I want to see a sequel. But for John Watt, he proved he can do other thing that's another thing of Spider-Man. So for that, I think is a movie you need to see. I don't think it will revolution the genre, but for a thriller action comedy with George Clooney and Brad Pitt, is a great pick for Friday night.
That's good to know. Do you want to add more?
Yeah, one thing, the kid we follow between the duo, played by Austin Abram, he'll shine in this movie. He's not great as Brad Pitt and Josh Clooney, but he has this moment. Is the kid that Josh Clooney, Brad Pitt chase in the city and try to capture. And you have some moment he's funny. So yeah, other than the two personal actors, this actor can shine a little bit in this movie. But for the all cast is no one is memorable. Other than the principal two lead actor, this actor is so charisma, so it's difficult to shine uh, outside them. But the kid succeed with that. So yeah. Other than that, I think I'll say I want to say about this movie. Yeah.
So, if you had issues, am I right to think and say that your issues might be it's forgettable, it's not really unique? Am I
Yeah,
right to say that?
it's not a unique. The story is very classical. It's not creative when in this execution. The premise is working. Two cleaner need to work together. That is a good idea, but the director John Watt not don't know how to go after that. Other than the chase and the twist ending, but in the all the story is just go to A to B and to try to find something to try to fix something, but it's not engaging to follow. Is pretty some moment is boring to follow. But overall is funny to follow the story. But it's not great as we think we will get with Josh Clooney and Brad Pitt.
So, am I right to say that you were a bit disappointed because usually they are great?
Yeah, we can say that, but like I say, it's not a bad movie. It's a funny movie, but I wish it was better than that. I think the sequel will go further with the concept. I think the sequel can be better than that. So I hope I'm right about that. But for this four movie, yeah. But John Watts is not a phenomenal director. He does a Spider-Man movie. This Spider-Man movie is funny. It's a good entertainment, but it's not the best Spider-Man movie overall. Sam Raimi does better that for Spider-Man than John Watt. But I really like the Homeland trilogy Spider-Man. I'm a big fan, but in my eyes, I think it's not as good as it to be. It is to be. John Watt is in the base Yes Man director for Marvel. In this movie, he tried to demonstrate he have a talent for a director movie, and for some element, yes, he have a talent, but I need to see more before I decide is a good or a bad director movie.
Okay, well, what would be your grade out of 10?
Say I would say maybe 7 of 10 for this movie. It's a good entertainment. It's funny. The duo George Clooney, Brad Pitt work very well, and some element of the story is interesting to follow. Is funny to watch, like the chase. Uh, but other than that, it's pretty basic story, not very creative in this execution. So I think 7 is a generous not. Some people say
Great.
6 will be more realistic. But for me, I am an optimist guy about the movie, so I say 7.
Okay, so yeah, so the word you were seeking for was grade.
Great, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you a lot for sharing. And now we will move on to the next. They are basically do rewind. They are basically two guys that don't really trust each other, and they get the same goal and mission. They need to clean up a mess with a guy that was apparently carrying substance, and all of that is a conspiracy to reduce crime rates, some shit like that. You get rid of all of the gangsters. You get rid of these two guys. Yeah, that's the idea. I thought the humor on that movie was great. The action was entertaining. And man, in the end, when they're really thought about Pew Pew, the kid, but they chose not to, that was kind of cool. That movie is just wow. I was entertained from start to finish. It's underrated. I I don't really get the eight. Two characters that are lone wolves and that don't like each other team up. It's like a premise we have seen so many times in bunch of different movies. I know, but sadly I don't have that many example because I will be honest, I haven't seen like thousands and thousands of movies. I've seen a lot of movies in the last like 2 years because of my Red Blue podcast. Seen over like maybe 500 movies ish, but that's like another can of worms. But think of Deadpool and Wolverine. It's a similar idea with the two leads. There are basically two people that hate each other, but they gotta work together. The oldest character was well depicted as with smart person thinking out a rewind. He thinks out of the box. He is smart. He's like, yeah, I see something is going on. Something is up. I'm not stupid. There's something going on. And again, the action and the music was great. The conspiracy payoff was wonderful. The dark humor was amazing. Hilarious and entertaining chase scene in the snow. The kid was a normal kid and acted like a normal kid. Like, give a kid some substance and boom, we got a cocktail. And all in all, I have seen around 65 movies that came out this year in 2024, and Wolves is somewhere in my top 10. It just got defeated by Anora, something I already covered, but I will plan on covering again because I want to see this movie again. And I will give a different spin to the next review to make it different and interesting. Anyway, you want to see more of this? You know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we are out.